Welcome to Hollywood Actions. Golden Age Hollywood dumbest stars who destroyed their own life. These were stars who had the world at their feet, fame, fortune, and adoring fans. But through poor choices, addictions, scandals, or destructive habits, they ended up sabotaging their own happiness, careers, and legacies. Some of these stars had it all: beauty, talent, opportunity, but they couldn't escape their demons. Whether it was substance abuse, scandalous behavior, or catastrophic personal choices. Now let's dive in. 1. Judy Garland. Judy Garland was one of Hollywood's most beloved stars, the girl who sang "Over the Rainbow" and became a symbol of hope during dark times. But behind her sweet voice and girl next door image was a life filled with manipulation, destructive choices, and ultimately self-sabotage. Judy Garland's story is tragic because she had all the talent in the world, but a lifetime of poor choices, addictions, and misplaced trust destroyed her. Instead of controlling her destiny, she allowed Hollywood's pressures and her own self-destructive tendencies to ruin her legacy. 2. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn. Known for his swashbuckling roles in classics like Captain Blood and The Adventures of Robin Hood, Flynn was the ultimate matinee idol. But off-screen, his wild behavior made headlines more than his acting ever did. In 1942, Flynn was charged with statutory rape involving underage girls. Though acquitted, the trial tarnished his reputation forever. Instead of repairing his image, Flynn leaned into the scandalous persona, bragging about his exploits in his infamous autobiography. He died in 1959, at just 50 years old, from a heart attack, his body so damaged by years of abuse that doctors said he had the organs of an 80-year-old man. 3. Montgomery Clift. Montgomery Clift was hailed as one of the finest actors of his generation, often compared to Marlon Brando and James Dean. But unlike Brando, Clift's self-destructive choices cut his career tragically short. Born in 1920, Clift started on Broadway before making his film debut in Red River, 1948. His sensitive, vulnerable acting style changed Hollywood's leading man image. He starred in A Place in the Sun, From Here to Eternity, and The Misfits, earning critical acclaim. But in 1956, Clift's life took a devastating turn. After leaving a party at Elizabeth Taylor's home, he crashed his car into a tree. 4. Rita Hayworth. Rita Hayworth was one of the most glamorous stars of the 1940s, known as the Love Goddess. With her sultry looks and magnetic screen presence in films like Gilda and Cover Girl, she was adored worldwide. Yet behind her beauty, Rita's poor choices in love and life led to her downfall. Born Margarita Cancino in 1918, Hayworth was transformed by Columbia Pictures into a red-haired bombshell. She became a World War II pin-up, adored by soldiers. But while her career thrived, her personal life was a disaster. Hayworth had 5 failed marriages, often to powerful but abusive men. She died in 1987, at age 68, after years of decline. 5. Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney was once Hollywood's biggest star. In the late 1930s and early 1940s, thanks to films like the Andy Hardy series, he was the #1 box office draw in America. But Mickey's foolish decisions ensured his legacy would be more about scandal than success. Born in 1920, Rooney was a child star who successfully transitioned into leading roles. But unlike Shirley Temple, who left Hollywood quietly, Rooney could never separate himself from fame. He became notorious for his gambling, womanizing, and financial recklessness. He died in 2014, at the age of 93. 6. Barbara Payton. Barbara Payton may not be as famous as Judy Garland or Rita Hayworth, but her story is perhaps the most shocking. She went from being a glamorous rising star to a tragic Hollywood cautionary tale in less than a decade. all because of reckless choices, scandalous affairs, and an inability to control her impulses. But Barbara's personal life spun out of control almost immediately. She became infamous for her scandalous love life, including a notorious love triangle with actors Franket Tone and Tom Neal. Barbara Payton died in 1967, at the age of 39, from heart and liver failure. 7. John Barrymore. John Barrymore, known as the Great Profile, was one of Hollywood's first great leading men. With his aristocratic looks, booming voice, and magnetic screen presence, he was a giant of stage and screen. But behind the charm, Barrymore was one of Hollywood's earliest cautionary tales of self-destruction. Born in 1882 into the legendary Barrymore acting dynasty, John was destined for the stage. He became one of the greatest Shakespearean actors of his time before transitioning to silent films and then talkies. 8. Jean Harlow. Jean Harlow, nicknamed the Blonde Bombshell, was one of the brightest stars of the 1930s. With her platinum blonde hair and playful screen presence, she became the first true sex symbol of the talkie era. But poor decisions, health neglect, and Hollywood's obsession with image cut her life tragically short. Born Harleen Carpenter in 1911, Jean never planned to become a star. She was discovered almost by accident, but her beauty quickly made her a sensation. 9. Howard Hughes. Howard Hughes wasn't just a Hollywood star, he was a producer, director, aviator, and billionaire. He had it all: money, power, fame, and intelligence. But his eccentricities, paranoia, and destructive habits made him one of the most tragic figures in American history. He used his wealth to break into Hollywood, producing films like Hell's Angels (1930) and Scarface (1932). He dated some of the most beautiful women of the Golden Age, including Katharine Hepburn, Ava Gardner, and Rita Hayworth. 10. Frances Farmer. Frances Farmer is remembered less for her acting than for her tragic life story, a tale of rebellion, institutionalization, and destruction that turned her into a symbol of wasted potential. Born in 1913 in Seattle, Farmer was a gifted young woman who won a contest to study acting. She arrived in Hollywood in the mid-1930s, starring in films like Come and Get It (1936) and Son of Fury (1942). She died in 1970, at the age of 56, from cancer, remembered more for her tragedy than her talent.